You know something's up when even CNN has had enough of the new New York City mayor. It's not just Scott Jennings who took him to task for a divisive victory speech. No, it was even far left-leaning Van Jones, who said, "Oh no, what have we done?" Today we'll tell you why they're not having fun at CNN, and it could be a very different path than MSNBC.
Oh, are you saying he wasn't the unifying voice of a generation that you predicted mere moments ago?
All right.
See, that was short. You used a short one. That's more
little shorty. From the New York Post, CNN's Van Jones is among those raising alarm at Mamdani's instant character switch after winning power. Now, there's more here than meets the eye. CNN and MSNBC have been split off from their parent companies, and CNN just might be owned by Skydance real soon. So keep that in mind, okay? And Skydance is owned by conservatives or centrists. The Ellison family, they're buddies with Trump. Emily Crane is writing this, and I want you to see how CNN is handling this versus MSNBC. Left luminary Van Jones was among those raising alarm at Democratic Socialist Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani's rage-filled victory speech, noting his instant character switch at winning power. A roaring Mamdani wasted no time in claiming a mandate for his potentially budget-busting progressive agenda and taunting the Orange Man as he rallied up his fired-up supporters soon after winning Tuesday night. Now, Van Jones was not happy about this, and Van Jones is nowhere near the middle. Let's hear what Van Jones had to say.
I think he missed an opportunity. I think the Mamdani that we saw on the campaign trail, who was a lot more calm, who was a lot warmer, who was a lot more embracing, was not present in that speech. And I think that Mamdani is the one you need to hear from tonight. There are a lot of people trying to figure out, can I get on this train with him or not? Is he going to include me? Is he going to be more of a class warrior even in office? I think he missed a chance tonight to open up and bring more people into the tent. I think his tone was sharp. I think he was using the microphone in a way that he was almost yelling. And that's not the Mamdani that we've seen on TikTok and the great...
Well, pause it there, folks. What you need to know is that Van Jones, who is very far to the left, Mamdani, once he won, even scared the doo-doo out of him. Even he was taken aback by the quick change in style and in tone and in tenor, and it made him say, ruh-oh, what is going on here? If we go, though, to Fox News right now, not everybody is happy with Van Jones, and not by a little bit. Charlemagne, the demigod, I don't even know if he even makes it up to there. Sorry, he's no Maui. Charlemagne, the demigod, tells Van Jones to shut the blank up forever, which I think is a little excessive. I mean, maybe shut up for like 10 years. Start there. Forever is a long time. The radio host blasts CNN's Jones in Donkey of the Day segment after criticism of New York City's mayor-elect's victory speech. Here is a little bit of that one. We'll play it for you. Here is Charlemagne the demigod. Here's Charlemagne the demigod. Anytime now. Oh, for the love of Pete, it's a commercial. Oh, come on. How dare you guys make money off of us? Okay, back to it.
Okay, there was no opportunity missed. The man just won. All right, like he just won. After you won, yes, you're going to celebrate. Yes, you're going to talk loud. What do you mean he wasn't warm enough? He took a victory lap, and he deserved to take a victory lap because he won. I just don't understand how in the era of Trump, we still telling people how to talk. The language of politics is dead, and Donald Trump killed it.
There you go, folks. So Mamdani comes out and is extremely abrasive to the point that even Van Jones can't stand it. But they're defending it, and they're telling you, shut up, it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault that he acts that way. One more. This is Scott Jennings from CNN. Right after Van Jones says what he says, we're going to go to Scott Jennings. Remember that Barry Weiss, who has taken over CBS News, under the guidance of, again, the Ellisons, because they just bought CBS. Now they might be buying Warner Brothers, and if they buy Warner Brothers, they get CNN. Scott Jennings is likely to be a big, big star with CBS News and 60 Minutes, all of that. And Van Jones might be working for the Ellisons. So everybody at CNN is taking this a little differently than MSNBC and MS Now. Here's what Scott Jennings had to say. Enjoy it, folks. Soak it in. It's amazing. CNN is starting to look like they're on Fox and Friends suddenly.
Scott?
Oh, Are you saying he wasn't the unifying voice of a generation that you predicted mere moments ago? Axe, where was the man that you predicted would not slice and dice the? Look, guys, he started his speech by quoting Eugene Debs.
The guy next to him in the glasses is such an enormous douche. I feature him in the entry. I feature him in the intro for my Thank You for Your Attention to This Matter podcast, because he is
Axelrod. You don't like Axelrod?
The enormous douche on the left of the screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Scott's
you have
the
to
only
be more specific, Culture, because when we're watching a panel on CNN, calling any one of them an enormous douche makes it difficult
Okay,
to
except for Scott. Scott's the only solid voice of reason CNN has, and so they try to feature him on every show. If he actually does run for office, he'll win, and he'll be as embarrassing for the Democrats as Holly is. Because him and Holly would be like, a tag team he would dream of in WWE. And you know what? Marvin's not even here to appreciate that. So let's keep going. Sorry about that.
Here we go. Continuing right along, folks. Here's more of Scott Jennings.
It's 5 times as the Socialist Party of America candidate. He repeatedly attacked people in this. I know my socialists. I keep a close eye on them. I work here. So here's the thing. He went after everybody that he thinks is a problem. People who own things, people who have businesses. He said an interesting quote: "No problem too large for government to solve."
Important.
And so when you think of the world that way, that every problem, no matter how small or how large, is
by the way,
for government to.
The extra douche that's sitting across the table from him with the silver hair, that's a Vanderbilt. Just so you know. Yeah. One of the 13 awful families around the globe. So yeah, that's great. Anderson Cooper sitting on that panel. Super. If anybody knows socialism, it's Anderson Cooper.
Well, let me go to Lauren. Lauren, I think it's fascinating that CNN was not grinning after the winning of Mr. Mamdani.
No.
That's to have both Jennings and Van Jones kind of combined together, it's not what you would anticipate to see. And I just wonder if maybe there's some hesitation on the left. Maybe either they know they still have to moderate, or they're worried about what's coming to New York after they saw that victory speech and they're saying, oh boy, this might go against us down the road.
Yeah, more the latter than the former, I think. Seeing Mamdani's speech was shocking because
did you watch it? Did you listen to it?
Not the whole thing, but enough to get the gist.
Walk us through a little bit, Lauren. What did he say?
Well, this was more than a victory lap. This was an attempt to essentially say that we're here now. We're in control. America is going to be for who we say that it's for. It's not going to be for the people who are actually currently there and the taxpayers, etc. And not that is particularly a surprise given his politics, but I think it shocked the Democrats because you don't normally go full mask off and just say it, especially when you've just been elected. And so the danger right now is that we're going to say exactly what Scott Jennings was just saying there, which is that we warned you about this. We told you that this was what you were going to usher in. You're going to have a hard time defending it if he actually does have any success in ushering in the policies that he wants. And so I can understand why they would be justifiably nervous now, because I think they were hoping that they would be able to play it like Obama, who claimed to be a moderate intellectual guy while ushering in radical policies. I'm not sure that Zoran wants to be a seemingly moderate guy. I think that he likes taking the mask off, and the proof will be in the pudding. We'll see what he does, but I suspect that New York is going to regret making this choice.
Lauren, one of the things that was most concerning to me is he talked about how they're never going to allow again somebody to amass the kind of resources that Trump had to be able to run for president. Mm-hmm. And, I guess if all you think about all day long is how bad the orange man must be, maybe you say, yippee. But I'm listening to that, I'm thinking, what you just described is preventing people from becoming rich enough to run for president. And that's terrifying. The idea that you're going to cap that. One of the most scary things he said in all of that, I think, was that example. What did you hear that, and what did you think of it?
I hadn't heard that, but I've heard him say similar things in the past. Two of the most offensive things that you can say in politics to me, the things that get my dander up, are when you start speaking about or actually limiting speech, and the other is when you try and make the argument, shouldn't we? Aren't we rich and successful enough that we should be able to afford to do this? That's always an appeal for additional government power at your own expense, and nobody has the right to tell you what you should do with your money. Nobody knows what your expenses are, what your needs are, what your goals are. And when they start trying to lay claim to what they see as your excess, at that point, you're on my list as somebody that I will never give any power to.
Yeah, but you just made my argument against minimum wage, right? I mean, again, some of the libertarian stuff still exists within me, and I think there should be no minimum wage, and I shouldn't think we should have a maximum wage, which is what Mamdani is kind of proposing, right? With tax the rich and all this other stuff. I mean, you don't get to decide what I'm allowed to make. My skills have a certain amount of value.
And it's always what the market will bear. I don't disagree with any of that. I don't disagree with the idea that we shouldn't have a minimum wage. Likewise, I think a lot of what is driving our costs are what we're actually in a shutdown now about, which is Obamacare. When you start talking about the healthcare system, which I think is something that urgently needs to be addressed, part of the reason that things are so jacked up is, besides Obamacare itself, the idea that insurance companies can't sell insurance across state lines. They have protected territories.
Well,
that is not a free market.
No, it isn't. And that states can actually commit fraud to support programs that are not supposed to be delineated in the federal process, which is giving healthcare to illegals. So we are not the world's healthcare system. We're not the world's police. We're not the world's solution, and we shouldn't pretend to or try to act as that entity. That's a bigger problem, which is why I'm very appreciative of no new wars and kind of the battles that have been waged very carefully by the Trump administration, both the former and the current. And it bothers me a lot that we get engaged in stuff that maybe we don't have any voice in. We don't have any presence in, we don't have a cultural understanding of, and it's better left to the entities themselves. And look, we can pretend that we can make peace places, and perhaps that's true with enough leverage and tariffs and other elements that we can pull these various levers on. But at the same time, just because we can do something, should we do something? And that's the problem with the U.S. government, is oftentimes, as you pointed out, we want to take the earnings of others, tax them, and take those same tax dollars and put them towards things that are outside of our country's best interest. And if my tax dollars are not representing Americans, I'm reticent to want to send them anywhere else. You understand my point?
So, Wizard, what do the cable networks do with this then? Okay, so the news channels have to figure out how to cover this. Culture and Lorne are accurately assessing, I think, the dangers of this and what's going on. But there's going to be two segments of the Democrat Party now. And the cable channels have to figure out which side of that they're going to criticize and which they're going to praise. What do you think happens here? Does MSNBC choose to go along with the Mamdani, AOC, Bernie side of it, and then CNN sticks to the centrist? I don't know. What do you think is going to be the play here?
So let's just imagine, for this hypothetical, let's take the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, sell-off. Let's take that out of the equation. What we're looking down the barrel of is all of these news anchors are going to have to pick a side. And it's going to be more than just the news anchors. It's going to be the Democrat Party that maybe they weren't socialist before, is going to have to choose whether they're going to stay socialists or be labeled as MAGA Republicans by the socialist regime. That's what's coming. But it's going to be for everybody.
Wizard, if they step out of line for a second, if they don't say, oh, if Mamdani puts in the public, if he puts in the government grocery stores and drives out the Walmarts and all that, you know what? Charlemagne the demigod is going to come on his little radio show the next day, his little breakfast club, and say, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that, Mom. You got to love Mamdani. Kiss the feet.
I think it's a matter of time before we see Van Jones come on out and just take the full gamut of socialist ideology. I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're all just going to toe the line and become socialist. But what's more important is culture. Hang on. What's more important is the rest of America is we're moving into a place where it's no longer Republicans and Democrats as America. We're moving into a place where it's going to be everyone versus socialists. That's what it's going to be, because there are going to be lots of Democrats who do switch sides because they realize this is going too far. There are considerable numbers of people that have been Democrats, lifelong Democrats, that are like, wait a second, I'm not a socialist. I still believe in capitalism. I just believe in a lot of these cultural ideas. And it's like a lot of people can kind of get online with that, but you didn't realize how far this was going to go. Well, it's here now, and it's not going to be Republicans anymore. It's not going to be Democrats. It is everyone versus socialism, and that's what's coming to all the cable networks. And I think, and this what scares me, is they're all going to be socialists. That's what's coming, and that's scary.
And you're 100% right. And again, this is the same slippery slope we've been having a conversation on for a very long time. Right now, you have the
to this extent, though.
You do the LGBT plus other things kind of movement. We started talking about a slippery slope there. We found out where the end of that rainbow fell. Same situation with all this stuff in politics. We've been seeing the Democratic Socialists, as ridiculous as they are, gain some kind of voice because the neo-Marxists that exist in the media are welcoming them in to have a conversation.
No. I can't let you say that, Culture. Because it's not neo anymore. It's just flat out Marxist.
That's true.
Let me bring Lou. Real quick, though, let me direct you on one question and then say what you want to say, because I know it'll be impressive. Lou, Fox News, do they stay or do they leave NYC? Yeah, that's not a bad question, is it?
Well, now, first of all, there is less reason to be there for any of them than there used to be, even if this never happened. I mean, thank God for coax. I remember watching when they started making Lord of the Rings Down Under and seeing people in the Bay Area dubbing by instant or almost instant, satellite or cable. So there's no reason physically to be there except to have a bureau to cover this schmuck. Okay. So in that, yes. Now, where do they go? I don't know.
Fox News, all of their hosts basically live in Florida now and work
remotely.
Remotely. I mean, Hannity's been down there for years.
Hannity's down there. Steve, what's his name? Ducey? Steve Ducey left Fox and Friends and went down, I don't know if it's Tennessee or Florida, but he left. He's now, he remotes in. It's basically just, all they got left is poor Brian Kilmeade. He's the only guy left in New York.
Yeah, it's either Florida or Nashville,
Gutfeld is still there.
Take care of himself.
I mean, there's some people in Virginia, but when I look at it, because DC is Virginia. Anyway, the conversation though is like, I don't see the purpose of having a New York office if New York becomes the new Pittsburgh or Detroit, and that's what I see the future.
It's
there.
still New York City though.
No, it isn't.
It was.
It won't be.
But in
the exoskeleton. The exoskeleton New York still has to be there.
How much time do you spend there? Because it's
I'm going.
The New York mindset is not going away.
No, like it isn't. Yeah, and how popular is Bruce Springsteen right now?
Well, you know what's going to be funny is, and I say this
about Bruce Springsteen.
I say this in a sad way, guys. You know how New York has not only do they have the boroughs, but they have the places in there like little Chinatown and that kind of stuff, and most major cities do. We're going to see such an exodus of New Yorkers, and I say this with sadness. I mean, I'm serious about this. I say this as someone who believes that everybody should go and visit where the towers once stood. There's going to be across the fruited plains of the USA. You're going to go to cities now and be like, Where's little New York here? Where are all the New Yorkers? Where did they move to? Where's their little neighborhood? Yeah,
well, I think there are little neighborhoods in Miami or
I'll just tell you,
cities in Florida.
When some friends of mine moved to Florida and moved to the west coast of Florida, I kind of said, why aren't you on the East Coast? They said, because it's full of New York Yankees.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is 20 years ago.
Sure.
So,
people are going to say, where did all the New Yorkers go? The villages.
Floral, it's time for you to walk the plank.
What? Why?
Because you haven't subscribed to WDW Pro yet. Nor bookmark thatparkplace.com on your web browser to get great articles from great contributors.
What?